Okay, so I'm out here today in this beautiful forest, and I'm gonna try the Brenizer method. Now, what is the Brenizer method? Well, it's a method in which I am going to place my model Claudia today in the center of the picture, and then I'm gonna take a series of photos after I take a picture of her on each side and above and below, and I'm gonna stitch them all together in Photoshop. Why am I gonna go through all that effort? Well, here's why. The Brenizer effect or method is trying to simulate large format photography. So here's what happens in a large format photography. If you don't know this, when you shoot with large format, your depth of field is much shallower. So in order to have a lens that's going to mimic a big area with that shallow depth of field, I'm gonna use something today like my 85 1.2. I'm gonna shoot it at 1.2. That's gonna give me that beautiful creamy background. But I'm going to take a picture of Claudia, then I'm going to lock the focus, and then I'm going to take all the other shots so that it's still going to retain this strip of in focus in the center of the frame where Claudia is, but it's going to create all the way to the outsides and behind me that beautiful bokeh, including that fall off in front. So if it works, it's going to look incredible. If it doesn't, well, I'm gonna actually show you a picture I'm gonna try also with my 24-70 at 2.8 and see if there really is any different in the pictures and is it really worth trying. So come along and let's see what it does. So here's the problem. I'm next to this raging creek right now from the winter storms, and Claudia can't hear me at all, so this is a time when you really have to learn how to communicate with your model using a lot of hand gestures. I generally will say this side. If I wanted to move this arm, I won't say the right. I just move it, put it how I want, and say mirror me. So it's just really more difficult when the model can't hear you. So again, you don't have to worry about your model standing still the entire time, because I'm gonna take those frames, or I'm gonna take a few frames of Claudia, and then when I get the frame that I think I like, then I'm gonna start taking my outer pictures, my upper pictures, to try to stitch that together. So once I take that image, then I just tell her, okay, I'm getting the other images, and she can move around. She could actually leave the frame if she needs to. So hopefully this turned out. I'll find out when I actually get back into the office and start editing. If you like the video, like and subscribe. But for right now, let's head back to the office and let's start editing these photos, and let's just see what we got. I could not be happier with those images. I am just blown away with how good they turned out. Not just the ones where I tried to do that Brenizer method, but just the pictures I took that day. It was an overcast day. I'm going to show you a few of those, but let's jump right in. I'm going to do Bridge and Photoshop. If you're not familiar with Bridge, it's just like a file finder, and it's part of Adobe. It's just something I've been using for years, and I love using this product. Believe it or not, I am not a Lightroom user. I just use Bridge, Camera Raw, and Photoshop. So let's jump on in and let's see what we got. All right, so I have opened up Camera Raw, and we're just gonna look at a few of the images here. These are ones that I actually culled out that I thought were some of my favorites. I've already edited through these images, but what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and clear my ratings so you can see all of the images that I took that day. And what I want to get into is these images right here. So I think right about here is when I started. I took some pictures, and once I decided that there was some frames that I liked of her pose, of just shooting her, I didn't move. And the last frame that I took, I had her hold really still, and then as soon as I clicked it, I switched my lens to manual focus, and then I started shooting all the way around. I started just on each side, And then I just started working to, yeah, like my right and my left, as you can see. And then when I got far to my right, I dropped the camera down and I worked back towards the left, filming everything that was low in front of me. Now, I did too many photos, and this is because I was hand holding it. It was cold. I was off center on the creek there, but I just tried to do the best that I could as quickly as possible. But I think I overshot it. Next time, I definitely will use a tripod. I've been shooting a lot of landscapes lately, and it just seems to be, changing the way that I edit things together. So it's really simple to do inside of Photoshop. So inside of Bridge, I'm going to go ahead and select all of these images that create that giant panorama. I'm going to go ahead and unselect the finished one that I did here. And then all I do is I go all the way up here where it says Tools inside of Bridge. And down here at the bottom, it says Photoshop, and they're right here called Photomerge. Now, you can do this directly in Photoshop. You can find Photomerge, but I'm going to do it from here. When I click Photomerge now, it's going to open this up into Photoshop, and then I'm going to choose the auto layout and blend images together. There's a number of different ways that you could do it. I just always find that this auto gives me the very best look to it. I'm not going to use content aware to fill transparent areas. And then I'm going to go ahead and just say okay. And right now, it's going to probably take on my computer. It was a rather fast computer, but it's probably going to take a good, I would say, 5 minutes to stitch all this together. And so I'm going to grab a cup of coffee. And when I get back, we're going to take a look at what it did. So that took almost completely 5 minutes, enough time for me to heat a kettle and AeroPress out some coffee, which takes about 2 minutes. So like about 5 minutes, I came back and here's what I ended up with. You can see all of my layers on the right-hand side here, and you can kind of see this whole patchwork. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to accept this. You can see what a terrible job I did. Of just trying to get all of the frames. And all I'm going to do right now is I'm just going to flatten this entire image here. And so I'm just going to say flatten the image, which is combining them all into one. All that little patchwork will go away. And this is what I'm left with, right? If I did this on a tripod, it would have been a lot better. But I'm going to go ahead now and I'm just going to go ahead and grab my crop tool. I'm going to do this I think 16:9. As a pano, because I really like panos. And I actually like the 16:8 ratio a little bit better. It's a little more reminiscent for me of like the movies. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. There's some spots that it is not going to get here, right? Because I didn't catch everything. Kind of want to put her head in one of those rule of thirds, I think. And I think right about there, I'm going to go ahead and accept that. I'm just going to crop that right there. And then I can just use my healing tool right here, my spot healing brush. You can use this. It generatively fills, but it doesn't use up any of your generative credits. So I'm going to go ahead and actually, I'm just using the spot healing brush. I grabbed the wrong one, and it did a perfect fine job. So I'm just going to go ahead and accept that for what we're doing here. Now, one of the things that I did is I grabbed one of the images of Claudia when I brought this up, and it was one of the images that I already processed. Not processed, but I had processed, her skin and everything, so she looks great inside this, kind of took care of all the blemishes and all of those things, and I dropped that in. But I'll show you exactly how I did that when I did this previously. So all I did was I used my marquee tool, right up here below the move tool, and I marqueed out Claudia right there. And I just said copy, paste, right? Control C, Control V, or Command C, Command V, and it put her on another layer. I actually didn't have to do that. All I had to do was copy her. So I'm going to delete that, and then I'm going to go ahead up and say File, a new file, and it'll automatically say clipboard because I saved it. I have a copy of it right now on my clipboard. I'm going to say create that size. I'm going to say Control V, which is going to paste that. It doesn't change anything about the size. And now I can edit this photo of Claudia, which I will tell you I took it into Evoto. And inside of Photo, I love using when I'm doing images that I want to print or special images. I'm going to use eVoto to do that because it does such a fabulous job. And then once I saved it back, I then can just use the Move tool, and I can drag this back in, and I'll just set Claudia back over the picture of Claudia, just kind of close. And I'm going to go ahead and select the background as well layer. And then underneath Edit, I can come down here and it says Auto Align Layers. And I'm going to say, yes, go ahead and auto align. And it's going to auto align that right back into the image. And if you've maybe made some adjustments that maybe the color was off a little bit, you might have to put a mask on there and clean that up. But I really didn't do anything here. So that's what we've got. So I'm going to go ahead and merge that together. And right there, look at this image that we have. I think this turned out fabulous. Again, I would do this with a tripod next time, but here's where this method really works well. To shoot a big pano like this, I'd have to use something like maybe my 15 to 30 and shoot this really wide. And I'm going to get a fairly large file to work with, but she's going to be very small in the file, so I won't have as many pixels to work with. If I'm going to print this large, I want to put this in a competition. You're going to see, not going to be able to edit as well. But here's what it does. If I shot this with my 15 and I shot it at 2.8, there's a chance I would be a little bit out of focus, but this stuff back here, it wouldn't be as creamy. It would be out of focus, but it would be very distracting because I would see all of the trees. A forest is very difficult to shoot in because it's distracting. But when I can shoot this at 85 at 1.2, all those distractions go away and it just becomes beautiful color in the background. This fall off in the front is gorgeous. So again, what I did is I'll use my marquee tool to, I kind of shot a frame, Claudia in the frame, something similar to like this. I took that picture, and then when I was done and I said, I got it, I put my camera in the manual mode, my lens, and then I just moved over and I shot a picture here, and I shot a picture here, and I shot a picture here, and then I went back to this side and just took a series of photographs, and then I shot from below, and I shot a number of pictures down below and then up above, and I did a terrible job doing that, but the result is amazing. So I don't believe that I could get this effect by just using my standard lens. Yes, I understand now that we have like 35 1.2s. They're gorgeous, but the compression on an 85, pulling everything in so close and everything so tight, just changes the look of it. I'll show you what I mean. I opened up an image. Let's go back to Bridge. I have an image in here that I created later on when we change into the red dress, and it is right in here somewhere. Right there, there's the image. So I'll double click that. It's going to open it right up into Photoshop. And you can see here, the top one obviously is that Brenizer Method, and below is shot at 24 millimeter at 2.8. And here's what I was talking about. See how beautiful that bokeh, that fall off is in the background. Look at how distracting this is. And because it's a wider lens, it's incorporating a lot of the sky up above. It was a cloudy day, but that sky is distracting. My eye is getting pulled to those brighter spots in the image. And then I wasn't able to fill the front of the frame like I was able to with the 85. So I got the benefits of my 85, but I got that look of shooting with my 15. So I kind of have that little bit of that distorted look, but everything's nice and flat. It just looks really good. So was this method worth doing? Yes, I think it was. Is it something I'll do on every photo? Absolutely not. But can you imagine doing this with a family portrait? Can you imagine those hero shots that you're trying to create? I encourage you, next time you go out, just give it a try for one of these shots and see if you're going to get back and be as impressed as I am. All right, thanks for watching this far. As I play this out, I'm going to show you some of my favorite images from the day. Thanks for watching, and don't forget, don't be lazy.